Welcome to the Can't Stop the Growth podcast, the home service podcast dedicated to personal and leadership development. I'm your host, Chad Peterman, and if you're ready to grow as a leader, you've come to the right place. Let's jump in. The topic of today is raise your leadership effectiveness with one simple practice. Now, that practice is the practice of being positive. And we're not so much going to talk about being positive, but the key ingredient to kind of fueling your positivity. And when we think about long-term goals, when we think about any goal, really, the thing that is scary, the thing that is intimidating about that is the fact that goals are not often achieved in one day. They're not often achieved in 1 week. You may have short-term goals that are, but they're usually part of a bigger goal, a bigger ask that you're really challenging yourself with. And the critical part of that is a word that I love and think about often, really throughout my life, and how it's played a role in that, is the word grit. And when we think about the word grit, a number of things can come to mind. What comes to mind for me is a quote by John Gordon. It says, "The number one predictor and factor of success is not talent, wealth, or appearance. It is grit." Now think about that. Oftentimes we attribute someone's success to, well, they're really talented, or they just know how to do that, or they know how to talk to people, or they're super organized, or whatever it may be, whatever those talents associated with that accomplishment are. However, what people often forget is that while it may look nice to be in that person's shoes, or, ooh, I wish I could do that, or I wish I could have that, or boy, it'd be good to accomplish that, what people often forget is all the hard work, all the tough times that particular person probably had along the way. And those are the things that leave us wishing and hoping and waiting for things to happen. Think about that. We can probably all think about a person who said, "Oh God, I wish I could do that," or "God, I can't wait till I can do that." And we've talked about it before. Waiting is a recipe for disaster. Acting is a recipe for success. What can you do today that will draw you closer to where you want to be? And more importantly, as it relates to grit, what can you do today if you get knocked down? If things don't go your way? If you fail? If you don't accomplish what you set out to accomplish? We all have those days, right? You get there, you look at your clock, and it's 5 o'clock, and you're like, I don't think I've accomplished one thing today. Grit is the ability to analyze what may have happened or what could be learned from today, even though it may not jive with exactly how you planned it, and move forward. When we think about people and where they end up, oftentimes those people's stories, when you hear them, are full of setbacks, of, oh God, hearing that, I don't know if I could do that. I don't know if I would have had the courage to keep going, to keep pushing. Everyone is going to have setbacks in life. You could probably rattle off 4 or 5 right now. And this talk is not meant to diminish those setbacks or to say, well, they're not really setbacks. Like, you just got to look at it differently. No, they truly are potentially a setback or an obstacle or a tough time. Like, everybody has tough times. Everybody has situations that make it more difficult to do potentially the things that they want to do or should do. We're all different. We all have those challenges. To not accept that would be naive. But as we talk in here, it's mustering up the courage to push through those, to understand what lies on the other side of that obstacle. You know, as I got to thinking about this, I was reflecting, and I had a conversation with somebody the other day, and they were like, "Can you believe where this place is at?" I was like, "Well, yes and no. Yes, because, well, we got a lot of really talented people around here. I feel like I'm amazed by what we're able to accomplish and the people that we bring in here and the things that they're able to do and things of that nature. But no, on the side of it, if I think about what this place looked like 4 to 5 years ago. Now, many of you weren't here 4 to 5 years ago. So I want to give you a little bit of perspective on things that were happening 4 or 5 years ago. That at the time felt like huge setbacks, felt like huge obstacles. Like, how in the hell are we ever going to figure this thing out? 4 to 5 years ago, we were involved in a lot of new construction on the apartment side. A lot of it. Too much of it for what we had manpower for. And there was a time, and I may have told this story before, there was a time when we had a group of individuals who was supposed to do some work for us back out last second. Tyler and I were actually in Minnesota it was our first Next Star event. And we get the phone call, and we're like, well, we got to go home and finish the event, went home, and we were like, what are we doing? Like, this sucks. Like, this isn't fun. Like, I don't like these challenges. And we were left to, we had signed a contract to finish the job. We were left to work during the day, and then at 4 o'clock we would drive up to Fisher's, and he and I would work until it got dark out, and we were roughing in a building, he and I. Now, roughing in a building is, putting ductwork and hanging boots and stuff we have no business doing. I actually feel somewhat sorry for those tenants in that building, but the building will be left unnamed because the job was completed, and we didn't have to do the whole building. It was 100 units. We just got the project off the ground, and then we were lucky enough to find some people. But, it's times like those when you're like, what, we had a vision for where we want to take this thing, and this is definitely not it. 100% not it. There was a time back in probably 6 years ago. 6 years ago, I think right now we have one of the best, plumbing, sewer, and excavation departments going. But there was a time, literally, probably 6 years ago, where on a Friday, our one plumber left, and we were 0 plumbers. We had a plumbing department. We had calls coming in. We had no plumber. So Tyler and I took the on-call shift that weekend. Again, no business anywhere near any plumbing stuff. Times like those, you're like, is this plumbing thing worth it? Like, are we really going to try to do this? Like, luckily, a new plumber started Monday. Now, he did not realize he was a team of one. We kind of had to ease him into that fact. But he was there, So we had someone to run the calls that we had on the board for Monday. So that was a good time. Now we have, I think at last count, we've got across the company, like between plumbing maintenance, plumbing, sewer, probably almost 100 people. It's pretty crazy to think about. At one time, I and Tyler were the only plumbers at the company, which is a scary, scary thought. There were times during that same year when we were trying to get excavation off the ground. Tyler and I were out digging sewers. He manned the machine and I stood in the trench and tried to do what I could. 6 years ago, that's what we were doing. We had no excavation crew. We just thought it was cool that we had sold a sewer. And so we rented a machine and we rented a trailer and we didn't have a dump truck, so we kind of figured that one out along the way. But we got it done. Still know where the house is. It's right over off of McFarland. If you turn off of Southport, it's literally right down the few streets down on your right, probably the fourth house in on the left. We replaced their sewer. Still works. So, luckily, thank God we have a lot more qualified people doing that today. There's a home downtown. This was during our struggle in plumbing. There's a home downtown where Tyler and I roughed in most of their indoor plumbing in the ground. We put on roof drains on top of this. There's roof drains that on top of this home, it's a very unique home, that we installed. He and I. I read the manual. He put them in. I think they're still working. And I mentioned times like these, obviously to get a laugh of you guys thinking about me out there, but also to point out that not everything is roses. Not everything is great. There's a lot of crappy times along the way. A lot of times when things don't look great. It sucks. You got to do things you don't want to do. On those days when we had to go out there were other things that I needed to get done, but at the time, we needed to take care of that customer. But it's also times like those that, one, make me grateful for how far we've come, and two, continue to push me forward through challenges. Like, if we could do that, surely we can figure this one out. All of what happens to you, what has happened to you in the past, all of that has the opportunity to be part of your journey. Grit is what will allow you to learn from that situation, to use it as part of moving forward. Are you going to use what has happened in the past to propel you forward, or are you going to dwell on why you can't do something? Well, it didn't work that time. Remember that? That sucked. What I would invite you to do is welcome in the tough times. Welcome in the challenges. Learn from them. Use them. It's not easy to do. It's the last thing you want to do. It's the last thing I want to do. Shit. I want to think about those. I like it when it's smooth sailing. Sounds great. But what I can tell you about smooth sailing is you don't learn a whole hell of a lot because you're sailing. You're moving along. Things are going good. No reason to stop, recalibrate, potentially take inventory of where you are and what you're currently doing and how that's affecting your outcome. None of that happens. None of that happens because ultimately, when the times are good, when things are rolling, what often happens? Often, what happens is we become comfortable, and inevitably, we forget about what it is we actually want and why we want it. Think about that. When times are good, we can often forget what it is that we actually want. And, more importantly, why we want it. I think this is one of the things that I have struggled most with, particularly this year. Because there's a lot of things going right. There's a lot of people that are really good. We've added people here that have been here have gotten better. They've moved up in the company. They're doing awesome things. And ultimately, that leads to things going really well. People doing awesome stuff, breaking records, doing things. And don't get me wrong, yeah, that's what we're aiming for. So don't go, try to screw something up today. Keep doing what you're doing. Absolutely. What I would tell you is to look for those things that are going wrong, those things that are a challenge, and embrace them. Go find those things. What is going wrong or what could be better in your department? Oftentimes, we want to turn a blind eye to that. Well, it's going really good. Well, what could be better? Well, these three things, but I don't really want to have those conversations. I'll leave those over there and just kind of hope that nothing happens bad. Like, let's just keep her on moving. I'm guilty of this. Well, things are going good. We're breaking records. We're on pace to set another one this month. It's awesome. See how that's real? Just even saying it makes me want to avoid all of the things that are tough to figure out. All of those things that we need to figure out, that we need to learn from. But we won't if we don't embrace them, if we don't attack them, if we don't say, hey, this is going wrong and I want to take an active role in making it better. That is leadership. Diving into those areas that need to be made better. That goes for your position, and it goes in personally. Think about some things personally that you could get better at. Think about those things maybe in your marriage or your relationship that you need to get better at, but it's a whole hell of a lot easier to ignore them. There's a ton of stuff. My personality, as my wife will remind me, does not lend itself to a lot of things that she would like done. And it's much easier to try to avoid them, to try to make up excuses as to why I can't do them or why I do it my way, rather than just leaning into something that makes me a little bit uncomfortable, or I don't really see it that way, but I know that in the end, that's what she needs from me. Same thing goes for the people you lead or the people you work with. There's probably plenty of times where you've said, well, I just don't understand why they can't see it my way. I told them to do it. Lean in to those tough times. Again, it is super counterintuitive. Everybody woke up this morning hoping to have a great day, right? Yeah, it's Friday. Weather's beautiful outside. I just love to have a great day. What I encourage you to do is to experiment and find out how much better your day would be if you reached out to help someone who is having a tough time, or worked on something that you need to work on. Lean in and understand that these times are what are going to propel you forward. Having a good day today is going to leave you much the same tomorrow. And I'm not saying have a bad one. I'm just saying lean into those things that may have a possibility to be a little bit more difficult. Continually doing that will allow you to keep what it is that you want to become and why you want to become that very, very clear. When we talk about what it is that you want in life, as it relates to grit, what is it that you want in life? Have you sat down and thought about it, what that looks like? Or are you just trying to have a good day? Because hopefully, what it is that you want to become is something out there further away from who you are today. If it isn't, great. But I would guess that there isn't anybody in this room wanting that. I would guess that anybody listening to this, now or in the future, is one that has a what they want to be in the future that's a little bit further out there, maybe way out there. And that's great. What I encourage you to do is think about it often. What does that look like? If I've said it once, I've said it 100 times. Start acting like the person you want to become today. Today would be a great day to start. Because the sooner you start, the quicker you'll get there. Well, the longer you wait, the longer it will take to get there. Nothing is going to happen good in your life from waiting. I heard a quote the other day. I feel like it was on a TV show of some sort, but I'm trying to figure out what I was watching. What was I watching? Or what did I hear? I can't remember. Well, I can't attribute this to anybody, but whoever said it, good for you. I'm drawing a blank here. I believe it was on TV somewhere. But it said that you know where I heard it was yesterday at a event that I was at. But the saying went, the harder I work, the luckier I get. Think about that. The harder I work, the luckier I get. Think about the last time you felt like you got lucky. Right? Think about the last time you felt like you got lucky. I hear people all the time say, you know what, I'm just lucky I found this place. Well, I'm glad you found it too. But what I can assure you is that you wouldn't have found it if you wouldn't have worked hard up until the point of us bringing you here. It wasn't like we probably looked at any one of you in the interview and said, God, really low bar of potential here. You know what? I really don't like this person, and I don't think they can do the job, but hell, let's do it. You know, come aboard. Let's get here. Let's do this thing. We got this. And if you have said that in an interview, please see me after this talk so we can chit-chat, because we do not want to do that. That is not a recipe for success. I hope you're all laughing because, well, I would never do that. Good. But think about that. Even if it's not this, think about something else that you got lucky at, but why did you get lucky? Everybody thinks about the lucky being like you win like a raffle or, win the lottery or something like that. There's a lot of other times that you get lucky in life. I think about luck like one of the biggest ones for me. So in high school, I was fortunate enough, we had an unbelievable football team, unbelievable people. We won the state championship my sophomore, junior, and senior year. School's never done it. Very few teams in the state have ever done it 3 years in a row. And the one thing that we talk about still to this day, if we all get together, is not about how great we were or not about like how much better we were than everybody else. It's like, can you believe that the stars aligned so that we in this class were all born within a made-up range of when you're supposed to enter school? A cutoff date was established by some random person. It just so happened that all of our parents had us in the same year, given a made-up cutoff date. Like, they didn't know the school cutoff date when they had us, nor did they know what would happen. Had us all in the same year. Our parents all decide to live on the same side of town, send us to the same school. That's pretty damn lucky. That's a lot of stuff that you can't control. But it's about taking that luck and why was there a result? To me, it's because we realized how lucky we were, how fortunate we were to be in the position that we were. And we were able to take advantage of that. So think about all of the times in your life where luck presents itself, where an opportunity presents itself, and it's up to you to take it to the next step. My junior year, we always had a theme on defense, or actually my senior year. My senior year, the theme on defense was, to whom much is given, much is expected. Think about your life today. Well, it may not be perfect. No one's is. Think about all the things, all the resources that you have at your disposal. We're really damn lucky. Think about where you live. You have a house. You have a place to, rest your head. All of this stuff, a family. You're here this morning. Everybody probably drove here in a vehicle. All of these things that we sometimes take for granted. But that's all part of the luck. That's all part of the fuel that should drive us to be something better than we are today. And once you figure out what it is that you want in life, the true power comes when you connect that why. Why do you want to be that? Why do you want to be better? Part of that will be because of how grateful you are. If you ever want to get clear on your why, think about all of the blessings and all the things you have to be grateful for. It would be really silly for you to just coast through life, right? That's kind of like taking advantage of the system. Just random things that happened in life that have led to you here today. As I said earlier, sometimes when things are going good, that what and why can become blurry. That why all of a sudden doesn't become as important. What is your why? Why do you want to be better than you are today? For me, when it comes to this place, it's to provide a place where people can be at their best and create something never seen before. Why is that my why? That is my why because of what we just talked about. I was lucky enough to be put in this position. And I feel that it's my duty to pass that along. To hopefully give people the same opportunity I was given. To create a place much like the one that I was put into. I was put into a place where I was given all the support in the world and told that I could do anything. And ultimately, that's what I want to give to everybody here. There's a place where you feel immense support and you feel like you can do anything. Because in my mind, a large group of people in that environment can create something never seen before. Seems like a lofty goal, right? Never seen before. What I can tell you is we're on the right path. There's a lot of things we're already doing that have never been seen before. And we'll continue to do those things. But is that why that continues to drive that? And we can all have our own personal whys. But what I feel is that when you create that environment, the hope is we can strengthen your why. Is that your why becomes, or more better said, the company's why becomes part of yours. And that's not being selfish. That's just an overall thought that helping others and reaching out and supporting others, I think, is a worthy cause. And if you think about it, I think that's what each and every one of you do every day, right? That's the great thing about our business. It's very easy to see that every day, whether it's with people here inside the building or with customers that you come in contact with. We have the opportunity to serve. You have the opportunity to hopefully live out your why each and every day. While here at work, while at home, that is the hope. So again, understand how that why connects to who it is that you want to become. That doesn't mean you need to become a different person. It's just, how does that why strengthen your willingness to reach into those uncomfortable moments and grow? What I can tell you is when you connect to it, you'll begin to grow. You will. As I said earlier, there were moments when Tyler and I were digging that sewer that vision of creating an environment where everybody can be successful, they got a little cloudy there. Screw everybody else. I'm just trying to get out of here. It's hot. It's dirty. I don't even know what I'm doing. It sucks. You're going to have times like that during the day. But I knew that this was possible. I knew it. We just had to get that damn sewer done. Then we can get back to focusing on what we wanted to do. And you're going to have times in your life like that. There's going to be little setbacks. Like, oh, okay, I got to go knock this out. But it's all part of it. What did I learn from that? I learned that ain't going to hold us back. We run into bigger problems now. But guess what? It ain't going to hold us back. Because we are firmly connected to that why. The next piece of the puzzle that I'll talk about is once you develop that what and that why, it's do you love it? You know, I say this because like when people sit down to sketch out their what and their why, oftentimes they're very lofty, right? They're like, which is great. Yeah, I want to be this, or I want to achieve this, or whatever the case may be, and that's fantastic. But the ultimate piece of the puzzle is, do you love what you do? Do you love it? And why love is so important in what it is that you do and why you do it is because that conquers all fear. That conquers all obstacles. The love of what you do conquers all of that. Now again, let me clarify. I get it. There may be things you do here at work. It's like, I don't really love this, but, I enjoy it. I do it. But what happens when you connect what it is that you do on a daily basis to who you want to become in the future and why you want to become that person? What happens there? Love starts to develop. Because it isn't what you're doing, it isn't the task that you're doing, it's why you're doing it. It's what you will become from doing it. And that doesn't come when everything is smooth sailing. That comes from when we get a little bit uncomfortable, when we do things that are challenging, when we continue to challenge ourselves, when we continue to push ourselves, when we continue to set the bar higher of what is possible. Because what I can tell you is that obstacles, failures, setbacks, they're going to come. They may come today. But when you know why you're doing it, where you want to go, and you're willing to, sometimes the hardest thing to do is to reach out to somebody and say, hey, I'm not where I want to be. How do I get better? You know what that other person's probably going to say to you? They're probably going to help you. Probably not going to look at you and say, oh, cool, man. Good luck. Like, no. People want to help people. But guess what? It's really hard to help somebody who doesn't know what they want to do or why they want to do it. It's extremely hard to help them. So what is it that you want to do? Well, I don't know. I'm just doing what they told me to do. What? Well, it's going to be very difficult to lead you because you seem to be struggling with who you are as a person and what it is that you want to do. And again, these are really deep questions. Wouldn't advise these on like the first interaction with somebody. But I would advise you to have the conversation at some point when you feel like you've built up enough trust and have that level of, understanding. What do you want to do with your life? What is a goal of yours? How can I help you get there? Oftentimes, it's probably not to, I'm really passionate about booking the most calls ever. Well, okay, I love that passion, but there's probably something more in that for you. Like, what do you want to do? And where we're able to establish that is people who are passionate about being really good at what it is that they do. Then you're able to help them. Then you're able to move them forward. But 2, if you're going to lead somebody, what's our rule? You got to lead yourself first. So you have to get clear on what it is you want to become and how helping somebody, because that is leadership, is going to draw you closer to what it is that you want to become. I've said this before, the fastest way to get promoted around here or continue to move up is just help the living daylights out of people around you. You got a problem? I'll help you. Anybody need any help? What do you got? That is the goal. There are going to be things that come up in people's life that they're going to need help with, that they're going to need help moving past. What are you willing to do to learn from that? To help people continue to move forward. One of the things that people often will say, or you'll have people say, is, I love to learn. I love to, understand new things or whatever it may do. And there's always things that can be learned. But as we've talked about, it is when you love those things, when you, continue to move forward in those things that you really want, that is when you begin to see things moving in the right direction. One of the examples of this that I saw this week actually, is that sometimes we are forced to learn when things outside of our control happen. What do I mean by that? Think about things in your life that have been thrown at you that you didn't really have any control of, but you were forced to grow. You were forced to get better. Things that you didn't really necessarily want to handle. It would have been easier if things didn't happen like that, but they did. And they continued to come at you. And things didn't roll like you thought that they would, or, you were just not expecting those things. And it's grit that is going to allow you to respond in a positive fashion to that. It's that grit. It's that love of who you want to become and why you want to do such a great job that is going to allow you to see success. There's things out of our control every single day. There's things that are going to happen today that can either be viewed as a terrible thing, as a setback, as a, well, that isn't my problem, or, hey, I can't do anything about that. Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can. You can do something about everything that happens in your life. Because, as I said earlier, we all have the choice to learn from whatever it is that's happening. We all have an option to make it better. Because the first step in making any situation better is to say, well, there's a lot we can learn from here. You know, Jesse and I were out at a customer's house yesterday where we had made some mistakes. And then there were also things that were completely like out of our control. Like we were both left like, well, this should work given that it's apparently looks like it's hooked up right, but it's not. So, how do we fix this? And, you know, not exactly what the customer wanted to hear, but that were the facts. Like, hey, we're going to try everything we can. We're going to throw everybody we got at this situation. But yeah, there may be a point when we got to go, crap, you know, I don't know how to fix this. And the one thing that he said when we left there, as we walked across the street back to our cars, is he said, you know what, there's a lot we can learn from this. And I thought, you know what, that is so perfect. A situation that the customer was obviously frustrated, but that frustration was lowered, I think most because they knew that we wanted to learn something about the situation. We wanted to get better. And that's what we told them. Hey, yeah, we did not do that, and we said we would, but by God, we're going to come back and get that fixed, and you let us know what date works, and we will be Johnny on this, and we're going to do everything in our power to get it fixed. And by the time we left there, they were like, yeah, I think this sounds like a plan. Let's move forward. Let's get this knocked out. But it was that willingness to learn from something that went crappy. And there are a lot of things that were thrown at us that weren't necessarily our fault. There again, the installers put it in right. It's put in right. It's functioning. It's working. It's plugged in. It's ready to roll. But it's not doing what it's supposed to do. So we got to figure that out. You know, one of the last examples of this that I saw this week, that is the epitome, and I'm going to brag on them because they've got the most people here, and the epitome of things being thrown at you, obstacles, challenges, all kinds of stuff, and you got no control. Nothing. Is in our call center. We're growing. Phones are ringing. Good luck. There's no like, oh, great. We'll figure it out, you know, like it's coming at you. And it ain't holding back. We can't tell the customers to stop calling. I mean, that'd be very difficult. I guess we could unplug the phone or something like that. I don't know. Matt probably knows how to do it, but it's not. But, you know, there's none of that. There's no like, ooh, can we slow them down so we can, you know, train these people and get them up to speed and do all of this? There's none of that. It is on the move, coming at you, no stopping. Now, in a lot of instances, people would view that as, well, that ain't my fault. Like, I mean, we're doing what we can, but, you know, figure it out. I mean, you got too many people calling. We ain't got enough people. I don't know what to tell you. We're doing the best we can. But this group didn't say that at all. And the numbers bear it out. It's quite remarkable. When I talk about what things looked like before and how that could have been a challenge, there was a time, literally, it's 2022. In 2019, we were in the Top Tech building, and our call center we turned my dad's office into the call center. There were like 4 people in there because that's all we could fit. That's what we had. Today there's 27, if numbers are what I saw. They probably hired somebody since then. I don't know. That was this week. A year ago, they handled 403 calls. Earlier this week, or that would have been last week, August 10th, they handled 1,378 calls. 365 days. They did that. With stuff being thrown at them that they could not control. All they could control was how good they got. How willing they were to get better. They never used the excuse, well, we're doing the best we can. No, it was always we could do better. The same number, so a year apart. Last year, they booked 108 calls, August 10th, 2021. Right? Yeah, 2021. This August 10th, they booked 437. That's a lot. If there's anything we can learn about this group, it's that they have grit. They've built a spectacular department that without them, nothing else happens. You don't book a call, you can't run a call. To me, that is the ultimate. They understand what they want to do, and they understand why they do it. Without a lot of fanfare. Really no fanfare at all. Now, they're always doing fun stuff, it seems like, in there, but, not a lot of fanfare. Fanfare always gets cast onto the other. But it is why they are so successful, is that oftentimes you can't see grit. Grit is the willingness to get up every day and go make something better. In order to make something better, you got to find something that isn't better yet and go make it better. It means a lot to me because looking at these numbers and different things, and numbers are great, but really the emphasis on the number is just to see how much, to see what is possible in just a short amount of time. You get the right people in here, connected together, willing to work as a team, helping each other. That's what's possible. That is what leadership is all about. Are you willing to wake up every single day and go help somebody to make something better? Again, it's so simple. It's not easy, but it's simple. Sometimes the simplest thing, everything in this life is simple. I always tell everybody this business is simple. It's not easy, but it is pretty simple. Go take care of a customer. There's a lot of parts to that, no doubt. That's what makes it difficult. But at the end of the day, it's just go take care of the customer. Find out what their problem is and take care of it. That's why I love this business. It's simple. I don't want anything super complicated. That seems weird. I got a buddy who's like trying to build like a crypto wallet and stuff like that. Get you like super confused like right off the bat. Like, I am out of this conversation. We just go take care of people. That's all we do. That may be at their core, but God, it's complicated. There's a lot of code writing and all kinds of weird stuff. Like, I don't understand like 4 words that you just said. One was wallet, but it doesn't seem like it's like the wallet I carry. You said it's digital? That seems weird. Mine's real life. Everything is simple when you understand that you've got to wake up and you've got to act. Go find something today that needs to be made better and go make it better or go help someone make it better. That is what grit is. Do it day in and day out, and one day you will wake up and you will be exactly where you want to be. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed what you heard, I would greatly appreciate if you would rate the show or share it with someone who might enjoy it. As the name suggests, we are always looking to grow, so let me know in the comments what you thought and if there is anything you would like to hear on future episodes. Come back again soon, and always keep growing out there.